I just want to take a second to honor the life and memory of Diogo José Teixeira da Silva, aka Diogo Jota, and André Felipe Teixeira da Silva, aka André Silva. You are gone, but you are never forgotten, and the football community mourns. Hello everyone, this is Dan from USMNT Football here, and today we will be discussing United States 2, Guatemala 1 in the semi-finals of the Gold Cup. This took place at Energizer Park in St. Louis, and immediate thoughts: Diego Luna is snatching Christian Pulisic's chain at the moment, and as well, Malik Tillman is pretty good. Now, getting into the game, I want to say that Guatemala have been the most lively, energetic fan base so far in CONCACAF this season, this Gold Cup. They've really brought passion, energy to every game they've gone. Well traveled as well, whether that be in St. Louis or in the other stadiums they've played. Man of the match, obviously Diego Luna for the 2 goals. So this is a very interesting game because the US, up until I would say maybe the second half, were totally in control of this game. After the second goal went in from Luna, which was an excellent goal, probably the best quality goal I've seen at this Gold Cup. It comes from a loose ball lost on the right wing that Malik Tillman wins back and switches over to Diego Luna, who, great bit of skill, takes a shot and goes into the back of the net. Excellent goal. And from that point on, you really wondered if the US were going to maintain that control going into the second half or push on for more. I think what Pochettino wanted to do was kind of keep, a steady kind of foot on the gas and just be ready for any counterattacking opportunities should they arrive, with Guatemala being a lot more reckless or a lot more just going for it, right? Because they're down by 2 in the attack. Now, this has been an issue with Pochettino going back to his Chelsea days, that I've always felt his substitutions, A, have been a bit too late, and B, sometimes it make no sense at all. And I think we really saw that with, first of all, Brendan Aronson being the first change for Luca de la Torre made not that much sense to me. Because then what happened was Berhalter kind of came back here and Aronson up on the wing. Now, Aronson is going to work hard for you, but I don't know if they made much sense taking off Luca de la Torre, losing that possession and control. Guatemala would go with a triple substitution. Munoz coming off for Escobar, Castellanos coming off for Rosales, and Franco coming on for Robles. Almost the entire swap of their midfield and on the left-hand side. And then we'd see a double striker change later on for Rubin and Altan coming on for Archimedes Ordóñez and Darwin Lom. And that was honestly a very dynamic change from Fernando El Flaco Tena, because he was just trying to get something different, energy down. He saw Rubin and Altan weren't as effective, so why not throw on guys like Ordóñez and Lom, who have already made that difference in that team. And it would actually be over here from Escobar, who would help assist that goal to Ordóñez. Looking over at Pochettino, he would then go with, so Pochettino would actually have Diego Luna come off, Tolkien come on, and Tyler Adams come off, which I really didn't understand. I don't know if Tyler Adams is going through some kind of niggling injury or something like that, like it was a fitness thing, but taking Tyler off just made no sense to me. McGlynn would come into that midfield, and it would kind of look something more like that. You had Tolkien and Arston kind of working on that left-hand side with Berhalter and McGlynn as the 2 pivots, and Aronson obviously working hard. But honestly, this not too long after Pochettino's sub is when the goals would come in. I don't know if that's to say that Guatemala got their substitutions really correct, or if the US just, our substitutions were that bad. Either one, but after that change, quick thing to note, Diego Luna would come off to a mixed ovation and boos. I believe the boos, though, were more for Pochettino taking him off. to almost say, like, what are you doing here? And then after that goal went in, we saw Patrick Adjman come off for Damian Downs, and Walker Zimmerman come on for Arfston right here. So then what would happen is it kind of became a back five with Zimmerman going into the middle, Tolkien coming down at left back, and Aronson kind of going from wing to wing because he's that hard of a worker, and Tillman obviously helping back where he could. Which, if you talk about game management, I just don't think it was that smart, because eventually, because as the game went on, you honestly wondered, like, what is the US doing with their chance creation? It just never looked that effective. A lot of talk has been on Patrick Adjman, if he's good enough to start for this team, and he honestly does remind me a lot about Nicholas Jackson, and that's a player that Pochettino was actually a big fan of at Chelsea. In that, okay, maybe as an actual striker, he's not as effective and clinical as you would like, but his work off the ball and creating opportunities for the team can't go understated. However, I thought just taking off De La Torre and Adams made no sense to me. Even Luna, you can almost argue, if it was a 1-for-1 defensive replacement, for like Tolkien, but then you wonder, why'd you take off Adams? Why'd you take off De La Torre? I probably would have taken off Tillman or Adjman for Aronson. But I mean, at that point, the thing about Pochettino's teams is that he's always had trouble closing out games. This goes back to his time. I was familiar with the Spurs team, but not as much as the Chelsea team. And obviously with PSG, it's a little different because it's in a league where he was dominating a lot of the time. So the experience I can speak on most highly of is his time at Chelsea, and he liked guys like Conor Gallagher, who would just be running about the whole midfield, but he would never control the game, right? And that's always been a big issue for me with Pochettino teams, is that if they can get an early lead, sometimes they just have so much trouble closing games out. And it almost makes you wonder, does he want his teams to go down and then come back to win it? Because that's honestly when his teams look the best. So in terms of game management, I've just always been very underwhelmed, and we kind of saw it in this game. I don't know, because the game versus Mexico on Sunday is going to be a final. Anything can happen. So yes, you want to have the best tactics for that, but it honestly comes down to who's up for it on the big night. I think the way Mexico has been playing, they haven't been playing that good, but they're definitely in transition. They're very easily they can easily be gotten at. Defensively, they're not particularly solid. We'll have a video previewing that soon, but just going over this, let's give some ratings really quick. Matt Freese, I thought, was okay. I wouldn't say he was particularly great. The goal that went in, I wouldn't say it was his fault at all. But yeah, we'll give him a 7 out of 10. Tim Ream, okay, but had a few shaky moments. I'll give him a 6. Walker Zimmerman didn't have much to do coming on late in the last 5 minutes. We'll give him a 6. Chris Richards, probably, I think, one of the better defenders. Him and Freeman, I'd say. I'm going to give him a 7.5. Tolkien as well didn't have much to do, but I just haven't been too impressed with him, if I'm being honest, at this Gold Cup. We'll give him a 6 as well. Freeman was pretty good, up and down the wing the whole time, helping with chance opportunities and tracking back when he needed to, so he'll get a 7. Berhalter, kind of an iffy game for me. I thought he did what he had to do, but sometimes it just looks like he misses just a bit of quality, or sometimes he can make the wrong choice. I'm going to give Berhalter a 7. McGlynn, he didn't have, honestly, he's been alright this tournament, but I didn't think he looked particularly effective for his time on the field. I thought he's looked actually better in other games. But that, I wouldn't say that's necessarily his fault, because he's being asked to see out a game in a position where he's comfortable playing there, but as a pivot to just defend, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a strong point. But we'll give him a a 7 for his cameo appearance. Brendan Aronson worked hard, that's what he always does, but had many loose touches, giving the ball away, and that's for me always been an issue with that Brendan Aronson, that he works hard, he's got the pace, but sometimes he is very lacking technically and gives the ball away way too much. Works hard to get it back, but I don't know. I'll give him a 6 though. Malik Tillman, one of the best players on the field, if we're being honest. He, for me, needs to be on that World Cup team come next year, because he is one of the best quality players on the team. And honestly, as time goes on, he's having a case to make of being the best quality player on the team over Pulisic. And I'm saying that as someone who's watched a lot of Pulisic. I think Malik has the potential to surpass him. Pretty good game, we'll give him an 8. Damian Downs as well, didn't have much to do. We'll give him a 6. Kind of, coming on just for the legs. Out of the match, he's going to get a 9. As well as Tillman, probably one of the better quality players. I expect him to be in that World Cup squad, to be honest, with the excellent performance he's been putting up. Yeah, very impressed by him. Tyler Adams, not bad. I thought he did a very good job. Made no sense to me why Pochettino pulled him off, unless it was, like I said, an injury thing. So Adams is going to get a 7.5. Luka de la Torre, I thought was okay as well. Did a good job alongside Adams. I'll give him a 7. Max Arston, he's actually been very impressive to me attacking wise as a fullback. I think defensively he has a little bit he's got a lot of work to improve. But as a wingback, I think he's been way more impressive than Tolkien, if I'm being honest. So I don't see anyone taking that left back spot off Anthony Robinson. But for me, he has a case to make, if he improves defensively, to potentially in the future take either a left back or a right back spot, because he can do it on either side. We'll give Arston a 7. Patrick Acheman. Now, a lot of people aren't going to like to hear this, but outside of finishing, I thought he did okay. He had a few chances he scuffed, but I thought in terms of chance creation, he was actually not bad. So I'm going to give him a 7, even though I see a lot of hate getting pushed in his direction online, which for me is kind of silly, but I understand it, but I think it's just ridiculous. So that's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. We should have a Mexico final preview coming up soon, so be on the lookout for that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Peace.